So I kind of want to take the last few moments here and talk about some highlights of a couple teams that I think people aren't talking about enough. Number one is Loyola Chicago. They had a really rough transition year last year. They went 10-21. They went 4-14 and 8-10. So really tough year. There's a lot of people calling for Valentine's Head. I don't think that was necessarily fair. I think going from the Missouri Valley to the A10 was a little bit of a whiplash. Look, I'm a Missouri Valley fan, but the A10 is a whole different beast. And you know what they say, the grass isn't always greener, but Loyola's proved that that's not the case this year. Loyola has brought their net rankings to 120 and it's currently set at 119 in the Ken Palm. They were preseason picked 8th. They are now 5-1 in conference. They sit in 3rd place in the A10 and are 13-6 on the season. They're really just one possession away from being 6-0 in conference. They lost to Richmond 58-56. So really could be right there tied up at top with Dayton, which is absolutely crazy. But they haven't really played a gauntlet in the A10 yet. They played Richmond, but they played a lot of the bottom teams. So I think they're going to really see, they're going to get a big test this week alone. They're going to play VCU on CBS Sports Network on Wednesday. So if you're free Wednesday, highly recommend watching that. I think Loyola Chicago is legit this year. I don't really know where they're going to finish. I could see them maybe finishing 6th, maybe. But, that's still better than their preseason 8th. Looking at their losses, they did lose to UIC. And they got handled by FAU and Creighton, and then they lost to Tulsa and South Florida, which, they all aren't looking like bad losses right now. Again, South Florida literally just beat Memphis, and Tulsa's been pretty good as well. But, losing to UIC is pretty bad because UIC only has one win in the Missouri Valley. So I think that they've really adjusted well, and I think they're just a shock. Again, they went from 25-8 their last year in the Missouri Valley, 13-5 in conference, to 10-21 last year, 4-14. So I think that they've done a fantastic job turning that program around in the A10, and I think they're just going to continue to build it up. And then the last school, if any of you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you know that I'm a big fan of this school. It is Moyne out of New York. So you probably have never heard of that. They play in the Northeastern Conference with schools like Fairleigh Dickinson, who beat Purdue last year. It's their first year in Division One, and usually those Division One transition years are pretty bad. It's going to take a while to build up. Personally, I love watching this. I love watching schools like Lindenwood and Southern Indiana and St. Thomas, Minnesota, kind of build their programs up from the bottom in D1. We've seen St. Thomas, Minnesota, really succeed in the Summit League, which has been fantastic because this is a team that was D3, and then all of a sudden, now they're succeeding at the D1 level. And honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that they have the transition block, St. Thomas, Minnesota would have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament probably. That is one thing to keep in mind here, but kind of pivoting back to Moyne here. It's the first year in D1, and really they were in D2, so they're in the Northeast 10 conference. They didn't have a ton of success. They were 15-15 last year. They were 11-9 in the conference. So, not bad, but pretty average at D2. But they're already 8-11 this year and 3-2 in their conference. And 2 of their wins in conference are over Central Connecticut, who is undefeated and are favorites this year, and Fairleigh Dickinson, who, again, beat Purdue last year. So now they beat 2 of these legitimate schools in the conference. And it's really fantastic what Nate Champion's building up there because it's really fun to watch these schools, again, kind of built from the ground up. And it's what makes this even more cool is the fact that Nate Champion played at Moyne from 2010 to 2014. In fact, he's one of just 3 players in the program's history to record at least 1,150 points, 350 assists, 350 rebounds. In fact, his total statistics were he scored 1,258 points, 468 rebounds, 391 assists. So this is a guy that was super, super important for this program when they were in a lower division, and now he gets to be the head coach and takes them to that next level in D1. And he's really done a great job. He's from Logansport, Indiana, and he actually got a transfer from Ball State, so I'm not really for sure if there's a connection there. My guess is yes, there's probably some level of connection here. But he got Kayim Cleary from Ball State. Been a tremendous helper. He's averaging over 14 points a game. You can go out to my Instagram. I posted up a little post about him in his last game. They hit a game-winning shot. He didn't hit the game-winning shot, but he had 21 points in this game the other day against Central Connecticut, and then they hit a game-winning shot against it. So it was super fun to watch. Highly recommend it. If you love watching small schools, you love watching these little 16-seed schools, definitely recommend checking out Moyne. I think they're going to be a fun one. Nate Champion's building something special out there. Super, just a really small school to keep an eye on, and especially if you really love the low majors. There is a steep drop off from the mid majors down to low majors, but watching teams like this is just kind of like something a little fun to watch on the side here.